everyone, it's Stacy. Thank you for coming on this yoga leap with me. Welcome back to anyone who's joined me here before, and welcome to anyone who might just be finding the videos for the first time. As you can see, I have my chair here this week. I don't think we used it last week. It's optional. I'm going to be doing most of the flow today on the floor. Lots of good juicy stretches happening on the floor today. If you are practicing in the chair, I'll offer a few options, but mostly maybe try to find the energy to come to the floor and try something new if you're used to practicing in your chair, if that's available to you. If you practice with any other props, by all means, go ahead and grab those. Bolsters, blankets, straps, anything that you might have handy. I don't tend to cue too much with other props just because I'm not sure what everyone has available to them at home. So as I said, most of it's going to be down on the mat today. So we're going to meet you back there. We'll start seated. Okay, so let's find a nice comfortable seat to start. And again, that might be in your chair or on the floor. Anything that's comfortable, legs crossed. You might be practicing lotus or half lotus, or you might just be even in a nice wide, easy seated pose here with legs a little further away from you. We're just easing into the practice here. So we want to make sure we can sit comfortably, sit nice and tall on our sit bones. Maybe roll the shoulders down and back, take a few breaths here. We want to spend a couple of breaths just riding here on our mats, our chairs, our practice areas, and try to put aside all of our worries of what happened, what's gonna happen, and just try to find a few moments of breathing and movement here for ourselves on our mats. So with that all said, that was one big long breath. I need to take a couple breaths to ground myself. I want to turn my hands down. Options are palms turned up to invite more energy in, or turning them down to ground the energy, maybe bringing the energy down a little bit. So depending on where you are in your day, how you're feeling, and what type of energy you want, you can choose a hand posture that's right for you. And finally, if it feels okay, maybe closing the eyes. Otherwise, just maybe turning the gaze down towards the floor, finding something nice and still to rest the gaze on. We'll just take a few breaths here. Let's just notice our natural rhythm of our breath to begin with. Maybe it's fast, maybe it's slow, maybe it's deep, maybe it's shallow. There's no right or wrong. We just want to notice just the natural rhythm of the breath. Notice where we're feeling expansion and contraction on our inhales and exhales. It might be in our bellies. Maybe it's a little higher up in our heart space, our chest. Maybe we're just noticing it flowing in and out through our nose. Remember, there's no right or wrong. We're just noticing, tuning into that breath that's always working behind the scenes. We don't have to think about it or do anything. It just happens. So let it happen. Notice it. After a few more rounds, maybe we can start to manipulate the breath a bit and find a bit of a deeper inhale. We can start to inhale and imagine sort of filling the belly, the chest, the ribs in all directions. So creating a big balloon with our bodies. And then as we exhale, we can imagine this balloon sort of deflating and drawing back in towards the core center. Inhale to fill belly, ribs, and chest. And exhale, chest, ribs, and belly. Do a couple more at your own pace. Doesn't have to match mine. And then once you feel settled, go ahead and start to bring a bit of movement to your breath. We'll just start easy, inhaling to sweep the arms up. Eyes can stay closed or flickering them open. Exhale, bringing the hands back down. Moving nice and slow, imagine you're moving through something like honey or molasses, and you're feeling a little bit of resistance, starting to feel the strength of the arms and the shoulders waking up. Good. Let's do another one here. Inhale. We'll add a twist this time. As we exhale, we'll twist over to one side. If we're twisting towards the left, our right hand comes across the body here, reaches for the left knee, and then the left hand just comes behind to help us stay nice and tall in the twist. You can put a little bit of pressure on this right hand just to help guide the twist, staying up nice and tall through the spine. We're just twisting like a barbershop pull. So we're feeling the core work, the chest, and then maybe looking over that back shoulder. Stay for a breath. And as we inhale, we'll come back around through center, lift the arms up. And we'll exhale, twist to the other side. So if you're twisting to the right this time, the left arm comes across, finds connection to the outside of that knee. Right hand comes behind to help lift us up. And then we twist through belly, chest, and looking over back shoulder if that feels okay. On your next inhale, release and come through center. Inhale. Let's just move with our breath for a couple of twists, really rooting down through the sit bones. Inhale through center again. And then come through the center. Inhale. Let's draw the hands together. We'll draw them down through center body and let them find our lap. So maybe our knees or our lap. And we'll just do a few hip circles to start to create a bit of movement in all directions here. So just circling through the hips, and then inhaling, we can start to pull that heart space through. As we exhale, start to sort of round through the spine. You can hold on to the knees and either hold on to them as we round through the spine, or depending on where you are in your posture, maybe pushing into the knees to help round the spine. And then inhale, pull that heart center through again. Notice the weight shifting from side to side. Notice where we're feeling connection and lightness. Let's do one more in this direction, and then we'll come through neutral on our inhale. Option here to change the cross of the legs if you are sitting in a cross-legged position. Otherwise, staying where you are if you're nice and comfortable. And we'll do a few circles in this direction. So the same thing here. You can use the knees as anchors to help splay the shoulder blades, or to press into them to help splay the shoulder blades. If you're in the chair and you've got a backing to your chair and you are hitting it, just scoot yourself forward on the chair a little bit. Try and find a little bit of room to find a bit of rounding through the spine. Get a couple more circles here, noticing how it might feel different as we go in this direction. And on the inhale, let's come up, sit up nice and tall through center. Readjust, make sure we're sitting up nice and tall on our sit bones. Let's take another big inhale to reach up. This time as we exhale, let's let the left hand drop, right arm over, find a side bend. Stay really grounded through the opposite hip, through the right hip there, and roll that top shoulder open. Maybe even look up underneath the arm. Good, let's inhale through center. Drop that right arm, exhale, left arm over. Stay rooted through the sit bone. Open up the top shoulder. And inhale, let's flow with breath for a couple of flows. Exhaling as we reach over, inhaling through center. One more on each side. Inhale through center. Exhale, let's drop the hands behind us. Again, hopefully we have room behind us in our chair. If not, maybe scooching forward on the chair, clasping the knuckles, or just holding onto a beach volleyball, an imaginary beach volleyball, and opening up through the heart center. We can be reaching the knuckles down towards the earth, opening up through the heart center here. Take a few breaths, keep reaching and opening. And then we can release the knuckles if we're holding on to them, and inhale, sweep the arms up. And then we're just gonna exhale the hands through center body, bring them back down to our lap or thighs. Okay, let's get into a little bit more stretching. And like I mentioned at the beginning of class, I'm mostly gonna be staying down on the mat here today. So if you're in the chair and you are able to join us on the mat and try something different, go for it. I'll try to come up with some options for the chair if you're staying in the chair. But really an option is to just always use the chair for support, like to hold on to it. Or likewise, you can use a wall or a couch if you have one in your room, in your practice space. But we're really just going to be staying nice and grounded on the ground today. So the first posture that we're going to get into is we're going to just uncross our legs and roll over onto our hips. So I'm rolling over onto my left hip here, and we're going to be coming into a nice gentle pigeon. If you're in the chair, you can just cross one leg over and fold forward. It's this very similar stretch. It'll be more intense in the chair, though this one's quite gentle on the floor. So we want to sort of line our knees up so that we are creating two 90-degree angles. And this hip, you might realize, comes off the ground a little bit. That's okay, no problem. Just find the right comfortable position here for you with your 90-degree angles in your legs. And then we're going to turn towards our front leg, our left leg here, and start to walk ourselves over this leg. So as you can see, we're getting into a nice, gentle pigeon type posture. So if it's too gentle, by all means, find something more traditional. The option might be to come all the way over. I'm just not sure we're ready for something so intense, and that wasn't the intention. So again, just like I said at the beginning, if you want to try something new by getting out of your chair, you might want to try something new and try something a little gentler than a traditional pigeon. So here we go. We've got our 90 degrees, We're going to turn our bodies towards this front 90-degree leg and start walking down. We'll make our way maybe down to our forearms. We might want to stay here. You may want to lower down a little further. You can stack your wrists on top of each other, or if you have a block, it might be nice to place the forehead down on the block. So just sort of melt down over the leg. Enjoy a nice gentle pigeon option. Or I think they call this deer pose. Feel a little stretch in the outer left hip. Stay for another round of breath. Try to melt down over the leg. Take tension out of the arms. And then we'll make our way back up so we can lift the forehead, press into forearms, and we'll walk ourselves up. Now let's sort of stay facing this way, and we'll plant our left hand down. We're going to lift the hips up and try to stretch out the front of the of the right thigh and hip flexors here. So we're going to squeeze the bum, press into this left leg, and maybe use our right hand to give us a bit of momentum to help lift the hips up and open. So we're sort of up on our knees here. A bit of a nice opening through the front side body. If it's too much with the top arm reaching, by all means, bring it down. I just used that momentum to help get me up, and I'm going to stay for 2 more breaths. I'm pressing into left hand, squeezing the bum, and feeling a nice line of energy and stretch down the front of the right leg. Let's exhale, lower down. All right, let's come through center, bringing hands behind us. We'll just bring the knees up. Step the feet onto the ground, maybe windshield wiper the legs a little bit, shake it out. All right, let's go to the other side. So let the knees fall over, come up to a bit of a seated position, and we'll position our legs again. We'll get all onto our right hip, get those 90 degrees happening in the legs. This side, you may want to bring the feet closer or further apart. Again, it's a different side of your body. It might feel different on this side. So finding those 90 degrees, and then we're going to turn our bodies to face the front leg, the right leg this time. And we're going to start to walk ourselves over that front leg, coming down first to maybe our forearms, settling here, deciding whether we're staying or going lower and using a block or two fists to lower our wrist down. Again, a nice gentle version of pigeon or deer pose, feeling a stretch in the outer right hip this time. We're going to stay for one more full cycle of breath. Relax through the jaw. And then we'll lift our forehead. Let's press into the forearms, walk ourselves up as we stay facing this front leg. We'll plant that right hand down behind us this time, and we're going to use our strength of our glutes, pressing into the mat, and maybe a little momentum with our left arm this time. So lift those hips up again and feel a bit of an opening and stretch through the left hip flexor. The energy and the stretch is down this left side body here. Stay for 2 breaths. And then come on down again. Good. Same thing one more time. Let's bring our hands behind. We'll step the feet, make any adjustments to the hips, and we'll just windshield wiper the legs one more time. All right, let's come up to sitting up on our sit bones. Sorry. And we're going to come to begin with wide straddle, but then we're going to bend this right leg in, and we're going to do a bit of a side stretch. So we're bending the right leg, planting or bringing the left foot close to the inner left thigh here. We're going to turn towards our bent leg. I know it feels counterintuitive, but we're trying to get this nice side stretch, so we want to be leaning sideways properly. We're not bringing our chest down to our leg, not for this stretch, not this time. So let's turn our bodies to face the short leg, the bent leg, and reach the left arm long along the outstretched leg. Let's inhale, sweep that right arm up. And as we exhale, we'll hinge sideways, finding a nice side stretch. So similar, but maybe a bit of a deeper sensation down the side of the body here to the stretch we did in the warm-up. Keep rolling that top shoulder open. Gaze wherever it's comfortable, maybe looking out underneath the arm. That might help us open up through the shoulders and the heart space. And then we're going to inhale to come back up through center and do a similar little lift. So I know we just did this side. We're going to plant our right hand down, and we're going to lift the hips up again. We're going to use the momentum with our left hand to help us get there. We'll end up on our right knee here. So if you have a pad underneath, if the knee is feeling a bit vulnerable, or maybe turning the mat over rather to create a bit more padding under the knee, go ahead and do that now. And we're going to press into this right hand. Again, we can use the momentum of this right arm to help us lift up just a little bit more space to open up and reach a little deeper if we like, squeezing the glutes, feeling that nice long line of energy down this side of the body again here. And then we'll lower down. We can lower the glutes and the arm. Okay, let's bring the hands behind us again. This time we'll step the feet, plant them on the floor, about hip width, and we're going to press into both hands and come into a reverse tabletop. So we're going to lift our hips off the mat. I'm going to turn sideways to show you. So we're going to plant both feet, hands behind us, fingers are facing either out to the side or facing forward, and we're going to squeeze the bum, press into the hands and feet, and lift up into a reverse tabletop. Squeeze the bum, stay here where you are. If you're in your chair, depending on the stability of your chair, an option for this nice reverse tabletop. Again, depending on the type of chair you have and the stability, plant the hands just like we did on the floor, plant the feet, And we can lift the hips up and come into a nice open tabletop as well. So there's a little chair option. If you're in your tabletop on the mat, go ahead and take one more breath. I'll join you here. And on the exhale, we'll lower down. Good. I'm just going to come back up to seated. And this time we'll let the soles of the feet come together. Hands can either stay behind us and you might feel nice and open in your butterfly like this, or we might want to bring our hands to our ankles, our feet, or our toes and have a nice lazy roll forward into our butterfly. So we're creating space now for the inner thighs, opening up through the backside body as well, round through the spine. Breathe into it. Stay for 2 more breaths. And on the inhale, let's make our way back up to seated. Good. And now we're going to open up that right leg and bring the left leg in. So we'll go through that little stretch and opening sequence on the left. So here we are, left leg bent. We're sitting up nice and tall. Let's turn our bodies to face the short leg, the bent leg. Reach that right hand down the right extended leg. And we'll inhale, sweep the left arm up. Exhale, side bend over towards that outstretched right leg. Keep rolling that top shoulder open. Maybe think about turning the gaze up towards the ceiling to help open that shoulder up. Really feeling a bigger sensation of side body stretch in this big, nice side stretch. All right, let's take one more full cycle here. And on the inhale, we'll come on up through center. We're gonna do that little press and lift. So we're gonna press into our left hand, use the momentum of our right hand and our strength of our glutes to lift up and open here. Again, if the arms are too much, they don't have to be long levers. We can bend them or bring them down to our sides. Let's take 2 more breaths. Nice big stretch on the right side body. And when you're ready, we'll make our way down. So lower down. Excellent. Good. I'm going to turn sideways again. And we'll find that reverse tabletop, or option, of course, is a reverse plank. The difference being that our legs will be straight. We're going to try and point the toes and try to keep the legs straight as we take an inhale and lift the hips off the mat. That's our reverse plank, or of course, reverse tabletop. Knees are bent, pressing into feet and hands, lifting the hips up. Stay for 1 more breath. Press the mat away. Squeeze the bum. Good. Exhale to lower. Let's find that butterfly 1 more time. So we'll press ourselves up and let the knees fall open. Soles of the feet come together. Go ahead and melt down and find a few rounds of breath here. When we're ready, we'll lift our forehead, come up to seated. Good. Let's bring the knees together, and I'm already facing the right way, so I'm going to stay here because we're going to make our way down to our back and do a little bit more stretching on the mat. To begin with, we're going to roll down any way that feels safe. When we get down, we can draw our knees in towards our chest and rock side to side. If you're seated in your chair, option is to just bring one knee in as the other one stays down, and then switch sides, finding a nice sort of rounding through the spine even. Let's come down. Now let's just make our way over onto our stomachs. We're going to do a little bit of work on our stretching our shoulders. So we're just going to roll over to one side, all the way around to our tummies. Good. When we get there, let's see if we can bring our hands underneath shoulders, press our hips back, and find a child's pose. And we'll lift our forehead, look forward. We're going to pull ourselves into a tabletop here. We'll flow through a couple rounds of cat-cow. Stack the shoulders and over the wrists, stack the knees under the hips, drop the belly, look up, inhale, exhale, round. Inhale to tilt the tailbone, look up, exhale, round, one more. Good, round through the spine, exhale, and then come into neutral spine. To warm up the shoulders a little bit and stretch the back of the shoulders, we'll flow through a few rounds of this stretch here. We're gonna press into the left hand for support. We can move it so it's a little more centered under our face, and inhale, sweep the arm up. Exhale, lower down. We're gonna thread the needle a little bit. We're not gonna stay. We're gonna take 2 more rounds of breath. Inhale, open. Exhale, lower. Inhale, open. This time we'll lower down and see if we can lower all the way down and either the forehead or side of face down to the mat. We're still pressing into our left hand for support, feeling a stretch down the back right shoulder. Let's stay for one more round. And then we're going to press into the mat. And we'll just sweep the arm up, take one more big inhale, and exhale, lower down. Let's go to the other side. So we'll press into the right hand. Again, you can walk the right hand, line it up under the face if that gives you more balance. You can also open up the knees a little wider, bring the toes together if that gives you a bit more balance that you're needing. And then when we're ready, let's inhale, sweep left arm up and open. And exhale, thread the needle, don't stay down. We're going to press open, inhale. Exhale, thread the needle. And again. Exhale, let's stay down this time. So again, lowering forehead or side of face down to the mat, pressing into the right hand for support. Hips stay high. Take a few breaths. Feeling a stretch down the back of the left shoulder. And then when we're ready, let's press into our support hand. Take a big inhale as we sweep that left arm open and lower it down. Okay, good. Let's bring the knees back in, line them up behind our wrists if they weren't already there. And let's walk ourselves into a child's pose, sending the hips back, reaching the arms forward, or bringing the hands down by our side, rounding through the spine, breathing here. Let's bring the hands forward. We can lift our head. We're going to make our way to our belly. So let's come up to tabletop and then maybe walk our hands a little further, lower the hips down, lower down to the belly. So we're going to come in and stretch the front of our shoulders. Now, stay here on your belly. I'll be back in a minute. I'm just going to show a wall option for this stretch. So if you're in the chair, you might want to get up out of the chair, find yourself a wall. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to walk up to the wall as we reach for example, our right arm back. Now I'm not sure if I'm in the frame here, I might lose myself, but we're going to see if we can get our bodies as close to the wall as we can. So essentially, you might want to just hold onto a cupboard as well, or some kind of, any kind of ledge. And we're just stretching and opening through here. So we're sort of trying to turn our body forward as our arms reach back. So again, you can imagine a wall here that would create a nice big stretch. And then you'll switch sides, do that with the other shoulder. on the floor if we're still there. Make my way back down to the floor here. All right, so to come into it on the floor, your head will be down, and we're going to bring our hands out to a T. Now I'm going to turn to the right to begin with. So my right arm is along the floor, shoulder height. And then I'm going to take my left hand and help turn my body and roll it towards the right hand. And my top leg, which is my left leg, might step behind so that I don't fall all the way over. Head can rest down on the floor or the block. So I'm feeling a big stretch down the front of the right shoulder here. I know I'm not facing you. It's a bit of a yoga pretzel, it's true. If it's too intense on the floor, try it standing up against the wall. So our our left hand and left leg are supporting us, helping us not roll forwards or backwards. We're feeling a nice stretch down the front of the right shoulder. Stay for another breath. And to get back out of this, we're going to take our left leg and we're going to start to roll back towards the mat. Left leg will step back. We can lift our forehead, spin it back, and then let's flow through a child's pose. Bring both hands under shoulders and we'll press up and back, child's pose. Nice big stretch under both armpits this time. All right, let's lift the forehead. Come on forward. Let's lower the pelvis down. Here we go to the other side. I have to move over a little bit. So both arms out to a T. Your forehead will be down on the ground. I'm just lifting mine so you can hear my voice a little bit. Now I'm going to take my right hand, press it into the mat to help me roll towards the left. And then my right leg's going to step behind that left leg to keep me from rolling all the way over. So it just acts as a bit of an anchor. So does the right hand. Remember, forehead and head resting down on the mat. Now feeling that nice big stretch down the front of the left shoulder. Option, of course, is to do this up against the wall or just holding onto a door frame. Stay for a few breaths. Really try to soften through the shoulders. Try to notice where you're feeling this. And then when we're ready, we'll make our way out of it. So now we're just going to press ourselves back towards the mat. We're going to use our support hand, reposition the forehead down the mat, bring both hands under our shoulders. And one last time, let's push back, find our child's pose, any variation. Stay for a few breaths. After a couple breaths, if your hands are behind, bring them back to the front. We're going to do one more little side stretch here. We're going to lift the forehead, walk our hands over toward the right. We're going to try and stack our hands on top of each other and then melt back down. And let's lift our forehead, walk through center and all the way over to the left. Stack the hands and melt down again. Lift the forehead. Let's come back through center. We're going to make our way down to our bellies again. So come on forward, lower the hips, lower all the way down. And then we're going to roll over onto our backs again to do a final check in with our bodies. Nice and easy. When you get down there, option to come into a happy baby or curl into a little ball. If you're coming into happy baby, feet come up towards the ceiling, Maybe your hands come to your ankles or to soles of feet. You can draw the knees down towards the side body, and maybe the legs can swing from side to side, gently opening and closing, or maybe you're just in nice stillness here. Take a few more breaths. And just check in with your body. If there's any final postures your bodies are craving, go ahead and move through those now. Maybe you want to find a gentle lift of the feet, a bit of a gentle inversion, feeling a bit of length down the back of the legs, just letting the blood flow from the toes to the heart and brain with the help of gravity. And then whenever you're ready, and there's no rush, you can find your way to a Shavasana, whether that's seated in your chair or lying down on the mat with legs extended out in front, arms down by our sides, palms turned up. Take a few breaths and just gently scan the body. Notice if you're holding on to any tension, and just maybe shake it off and let it go for a few moments more. Shavasana is the time for our physical and energetic bodies to absorb all that good work we just did and turn it into something magical. It's a time for integration and rest. And know that rest is different from sleep, and that we need both every day, and we should never pass up an opportunity to just rest and do nothing. And now the beauty of practicing through the lens, of course, is if you want to or need to stay in Shavasana any longer, by all means let the video play out or press pause and just stay exactly as you are. If you're feeling ready to get on with your day or evening, start to maybe bring some movement to the body, wiggle through fingers and toes, circle wrists and ankles. And maybe you want to stretch long along your mat or curl into a little ball one last time just before rolling over to one side and making your way to a comfortable seated position. Finding that comfortable seated position, let's all take a big breath together to seal the practice. Let's inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, we'll draw the hands down through center body. They can rest in prayer or over heart center or back down on your lap, wherever you feel most comfortable. I want to thank you for allowing me into your personal private yoga practice spaces, for allowing me to guide you through these really beautiful stretches. I hope they are exactly what your bodies needed today. Thanks so much for joining me here, and until we have a chance to flow again, take care. Thank you, everyone. I hope that you're feeling nice and relaxed and ready to take on the day or get straight to bed. Either way, I hope that you enjoy this practice, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.